we're ready to go now. Race 3 in the iPhone Superbike class, final race of round 5 of the 2015 Swan Insurance Championship. Matty Walters gets a good start from the inside of the grid. Can he hold them off down through the
Walters up to
first
second.
corner? Yeah, great start from Matt Walters.
All over the back of Troy Herfoss. It looks as though he could have run over Troy Herfoss there. Matt Walters had that much speed into Honda Turn 1 as they climbed the hill now.
The replay of what he did in his first race yesterday afternoon. Actually, will he try Troy Herfoss at the top of the hill? No. Maxwell.
One with new tyres as well, perhaps, Phil.
Yeah, maybe, or his qualifying tyre. He didn't do a lot of laps in qualifying, but Wayne Maxwell, then Glenn Allerton in third place, or fourth place, sorry, as they make their way down the Berwick Leathers downhill section. Walters runs a fraction wide, but Maxwell's follows him on the wide line.
And this is the best possible thing for Herfoss, of course. Matt Walters putting that big number 12 Kawasaki ZX-10R between him and the two Yamaha men.
Well, and the Kawasaki's pretty much a match for the Yamahas in straight line speed as well. But can he get the bike out of the corner? Oh, Jamie Stouffer's got a pretty good start as well.
Wide into the final turn then, brings it back. Troy's got some great drive under the straight that time around, really punching off the corner, off that final turn really well. Allerton looking up the side of Maxwell to challenge for that third position there. Oh, he takes two of them. Allerton, Maxwell goes past Matty Walters up into second place. So Maxwell must have got a great slipstream there to be able to fire past Walters. Walters has had great speed early on in this, but Maxwell just wants to minimise that deficit to Herfoss, of course, because that's his prime rival in the chase for the title.
And I dare say that Allen will be pretty desperate to try and get past Walters as well. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a look at the final corner as they come down to complete this lap. Walters is in deep and late on the brakes.
So a 63.2 off a standing start for Herfoss, so he had half a second as they crossed the stripe at the end of lap 1. Be really interested to see what sort of lap time thing he's going to put down on, like I say, he only had 4 laps from qualifying on this set of rubber.
I'll tell you what, if Benny Burke's extremely injured, as we're led to believe, someone needs to swab him at the end of this race because he is putting in a monstrous effort at the moment to be ahead of Mad Mike Jones on board the Cube Racing machine. So great ride here from Ben Burke. We saw glimpses of his brilliance at Queensland Raceway at the last round. He's had a difficult weekend. He spent a fair bit of time upside down, but he's putting in a great ride here in the final race of the day for the iPhone Superbike class.
Matty Walters looking to try and come back to Wayne Maxwell. I think he might think about making a challenge perhaps down into Bell Helmet's turn 8 as they go through Kawasaki corner.
Wouldn't be surprised to see that Glenn Willings made a couple of little tweaks on the suspension of that Kawasaki Connection Kawasaki Motor Finance machine too in this final race, because the bike definitely looks a lot more settled.
And he looks a lot more aggressive also in that first lap in particular. I thought he was going to ride over the top of her.
The second half of that corner, how he was able to just turn the bike a lot harder and get on the gas at the same time, whereas he didn't seem to be able to do that in the earlier race of the day. Herfoss's bike
from Herfoss. It's very don't often see that from the Honda. It must have just hit a couple of ripples on the wrong frequency there to set up a bit of that little oscillation.
But it's exactly as you noted the other day, Trev, that the Honda is just levitating the front wheel on the exit of a lot of corners here at Wakefield Park, even though they're running the longest possible wheelbase that they can. The chain stops are all the way to the back of the swing arm. Oh, Maxwell! Did you see the sliding? His traction control having to work a fair bit of overtime there.
Back wheel off the deck there. Jeez, he's full of aggression in this one. He's fed him his Wheaties for afternoon tea, perhaps, rather than breakfast.
Well, he's on fire.
These boys are closing down Herfoss on this lap, Phil.
That's it, and not only is Matt Walters in third place on the road, Trev, he's also leading the Pro-Am class by 3 places over Ben Burke, who's still leading Mad Mike Jones. But yeah, fastest man on track, 58.4 for Matt Walters on board the Kawasaki Connection Kawasaki Motor Finance machine.
So that,
tell you what, the way he's riding, he's channeling the mentor of his helmet, Chris Fillimore, former AMA Supermoto champion, backing the bike in at every opportunity.
Fillimore's racing superbikes these days as well, isn't he?
Yeah, for KTM in the AMA or Moto America Championship as it is now. It came out to Australia a few years ago to race in a supermoto race out at Oran Park. That's how long ago it was.
Yeah. Maxwell getting it lit up again through Vezra turn 2.
They have closed down Troy Herfoss, with Maxwell setting the fastest lap of the race on the last tour.
58.2 to Maxwell, and Herfoss only a 58.5. So I don't know if Troy knows quite how close those boys are, but from a long way back. Whoa.
I think Matty Walters has got a fair bit amount of confidence in the front end of that bike heading down into the bottom of the Bell Helmet's fishhook.
I reckon Troy Herfoss will buy Matt Walters a few beers if he manages to slot that green bike in front of that blue one before race end.
Walters, I thought he was going to try up the inside there, but Maxwell was his equal on the brakes.
Maxwell doesn't make mistakes really, and doesn't really leave a door open. He's just so consistent, such a smart racer these days is Wayne Maxwell. I say he always seems to pile up the points without this season. I think we sort of call him the semi-quiet achiever.
You know he should be racing with bike number 86, don't you? Then he'd be Maxwell smart.
And then he'd be Cam Donald.
Or Bo Beaton. Up towards the top of the hill now, it is still Troy Herfoss leading from Maxwell, the reigning champion, and Matt Walters, the first ever Australasian Superbike champion, on bike number 12. Kawasaki machine.
It's fair to say revitalised himself since Queensland, and another man that got revitalised in Queensland was, of course, Glenn Allerton, who was our race 2 victor. And look, he's not out of that picture either for the for a spot on the roster.
He is well and truly in the mix, is Glenn Allerton. In fact, I think he might be keeping his powder dry at the moment, just sitting there in position on the back of these guys. He knows that it's only half race distance. Herfoss sideways into the final corner. Allerton, who's been a great exponent of that as well, doing the same thing on board the Yamaha Racing Team machine.
See, Jamie Stouffer still in 5th place there, but well adrift of that battle for the podium positions.
Half race distance now. Ben Burke is putting in an extra brave ride on board bike number 60, the SA Kawasaki BC Performance machine, to hold down 6th position just ahead of Mad Mike Jones and the injured Sean Condon once again. I don't know how he's doing that to continue lapping the way he is at under a minute, 59.8 on the last lap.
And seriously, he can't lift his arm higher than about 10 degrees. He can hardly lift it off his left leg. There's just no power in that left arm at all. After popping his shoulder out again yesterday, and he's had so many shoulder injuries over the year. There must be so much nerve problems and loss of strength problems going on there, just ongoing.
I don't know if it was the same shoulder, but he did a massive one at the beginning of the year at the World Superbike Support Races at Phillip Island. Walters, is he going to have a look up the inside of Maxwell? There he goes, up the inside. Can he hold it on line? I think he can. He was going to run wide. Maxwell's on the inside.
But Walters still gets the drive down well, gets the Kawasaki turn, gets the power down, so Maxwell's either going to have to try and do or die down at turn 1, but no, Walters very strong down into there, so will Walters be able to chase down Herfoss to make a challenge? That way Maxwell might be the one buying Walters beers instead of Troy Herfoss buying him beers.
But did you see how fast he was out of that corner once he got past Maxwell? He got the drive down, had the bike sideways all the way up the Ipone, or up to Ipone at the top of the hill.
He's full of aggression, is Matt Walters in this one. You see he's chasing the front a little bit up there through turn 3 and turn 4, so he's certainly not leaving anything to chance.
Pushing the limits of the adhesion of the Dunlop control tyre. He's very wide at the bottom of the hill, but he'll be able to square the corner off the late apex.
Glenn Allerton might be the next problem for Wayne Maxwell. Very quick on the change of direction there, and I think he's going to have a crack at his teammate at some point.
Well, it'll be interesting to see the lap times as they come round to complete this, the 8th lap of the 12-lap journey. So we're at 2/3 race distance.
Herfoss has done a 58.1 a couple of laps ago to eke out that couple of bike lanes. So he was keeping his powder dry perhaps a little bit for these latter stages of the race.
I think he may have got the signal that the pressure's now being mounted.
Pull your finger out.
58.4 for Matt Walters was the fastest of the lead riders on that last lap, but only by a couple of hundredths of a second. Was that 400ths of a second over Troy Herfoss?
Herfoss doesn't want to allow that Kawasaki to be able to show a wheel, because Matt's full of aggression in this one. If he gets a sniff, he's going to have a crack, and Jamie Stouffer's going to have to contend with Mike Jones and Ben Burke. Jeez, like I say,
revitalised.
Does need a swab test.
They won't be putting the bike on the dyno, they'll be dynoing Benny after this one.
The team will be drilling him a hole in his leg before every race from here on in.
Kelvin will have the power tools out, ready to go at the beginning of each race now. As we look at this excellent battle for, 5th, 6th and 7th position. Back to the front now, Allerton all over the back of Wayne Maxwell.
It's still
obviously no team orders at Team Yamaha.
The gap was 8/10 last time across the stripe. When they crossed the stripe this time, the distance will be 3 laps to run, so 6.6 kilometres around this work. And the gap now 0.784.
Matty Walters, his fastest lap of the race.
He clawed back another 1/10 of a second on Herfoss, so Herfoss not careful. He's going to have a green bike slide up the inside of him at some point before the checkered flag.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matt's mum sure he'll be having kittens on pit wall at the moment. Carl probably not even looking. He's probably looking the opposite way and getting instructions from the pits.
It's a very funny little pit garage too, that Kawasaki connection. There's always a fair bit of mirth.
Oh, and they've got Murray Sale and Glenn Willing down there as well, so the brains trust behind this effort, certainly putting in a great job.
Murray Sale and mirth generally isn't 2 words that go together, but the rest of the pit crew is pretty funny anyway.
Oh, Hurtfoss, look at the way he's just sliding the bike in.
Allen up the inside of Maxwell, parks it. Maxwell wipes his nose. Maxwell's going to go, what are you doing, you idiot?
Well, I think that the Glenn's had Wayne do that to him a couple of times this year, so he'll say it's all fair.
There's 2 laps to run as they cross the stripe there, so
I wouldn't be surprised
Glenn's
if
going to have another crack.
That's the end of Glenn's challenge. I think he might have lost too much distance there to try and come back in 2 laps.
He's on it. I reckon he will get back up there. But the main game is here, red versus green. Stop or go.
Well, Matty Walters had to lift his knee up there because he was about to smack it into the curb as he came across the top of Kawasaki Hill.
But look who was the fastest man on the last lap, Phil. 58.17 to Troy Hurtfoss. Only 6 hundredths faster than 60 hundredths faster than Matty Walters.
That's actually knocking on the door of his lap record though too.
Yeah.
And that's actually knocking on the door of his fastest lap in, it's only 1/10 of a second off his fastest lap in race number 1, which was fractionally off his lap record.
So next time around will be the last lap board. Walters still plenty of aggression there on the Kawasaki Connection ZX10.
Well, they would have been hoping that yesterday was dry to get a little bit more set up on this machine. Last lap board for our leaders as they come across the start-finish line. Allison got a fair bit of work to do if he wants to get back up to 3rd place. He's made probably about a third of that distance back to his teammate Wayne Maxwell.
Walters picked up a 10th on Hurtfoss that time around. The gap back down to 7/10, but it's a big ask on this last lap. But if Troy makes a mistake and maybe Walters is piling on the pressure, so there is a chance of that, even though Troy's been fairly much mistake-free this season, of course. But earlier today he did run on that ride, challenging for the race win in race 2. But overall, he's had a very, very tidy season, has Troy Hurtfoss.
Definitely no problems with the control tyres. The top 7 all clocking 58-second laps on the second last lap of the final race of the weekend for the iPhone Superbike class. One more corner for Troy Hurtfoss. I think he's got this one in the bag if he can get through here safely. He's in deep, but he's round the corner and he's out onto the Swan Insurance start-finish straight.
That will be the victory.
Troy Hurtfoss will take the race victory. He'll take the round victory. Matt Walters will get on the podium in 2nd place and leading Pro-Am bike. And Wayne Maxwell minimises the damage with 3rd place after a collision with his teammate Glenn Allerton at the final corner only a couple of laps ago. Jamie Stover takes 5th. Mike Jones 2nd in the Pro-Am class, and Ben Burke, a brave Ben Burke, takes 3rd place in the Pro-Am class and 7th overall.
Sean Condon amazingly takes 8th. Old Troy Hurtfoss
smoke him if you got him.
Wasting a bit of Dunlop and creating a bit of rubber mess on the back of that Team Honda 5-blade SP.
I don't think Ken Whedon from Dunlop's going to get any valuable information from that tyre.
Troy's pretty pumped with that one. I'd reckon that might not be the only burnout he does. But you see how he was quite courteous to the circuit onions and pulled off the circuit onto a little bit of concrete on the other side of a ripple strip.
0.729 of a second over a very aggressive Matt Walters in the final race on the KMF Finance Kawasaki Connection machine. Wayne Maxwell, the reigning champion, takes 3rd and some good solid points. The championship will now, by my calculations, be down to about 13, probably be 15 points difference between Troy Hurtfoss and Wayne Maxwell heading into the penultimate round of the championship at Winton. All right, let's get out to Lance, who's with our race victor, round victor, Troy Hurtfoss.
You, mate. No better way to finish off and reward your fan base here at a home track. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, Lance. Such a great weekend. I can't believe we've managed to come away with, technically 4 wins and a 2nd and a 3rd. So it's been such a great weekend. We've really worked hard to make sure we've come to this part of the championship with a good chance of the championship, and now we've, ticked one box. We've got away with a good haul of points and extended the lead. So we can't be happier.
Onward and forward from here. Winton's the next challenge for you.
Yeah, Winton's the next challenge. So it's another great track for us. We can take the same bike we've got here over to Winton, and we know our race pace is good. Sometimes my 1 lap speed doesn't get me up the front, but over race distance the bike's so good.
Which track do you prefer, here or Winton?
Oh, I love them both. I just love the tight technical circuits. There's a lot of character to Winton. There's grass growing out of some of the cracks when you get there. It's just a really old school circuit. I really enjoy it, and I can't wait to get over there.
Well, I'm sure you can't wait to get back to your fan base and enjoy the victory today. Well done.
Yeah, and speaking of the Goulburn guys, I just want a special mention to I'm part of a really good group of cyclists in Goulburn. We're a good bunch of friends, and unfortunately last week one of our friends, Nadine Moroney, was taken down by a truck, and she's in a bad way in hospital, and and we're all hoping she has a speedy recovery. And best wishes from the Goulburn Club and everyone at Wakefield.
And the best wishes from us here too. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Good on you, Troy Herfoss. Second place, well, Kawasaki Motor Finances, Rover Coaches, Kawasaki Connection, Matt Walters. Well done.
Yeah, it was a bit better race. Finally got a good start and went from there. It was a lot better.
What was the secret to your success? Why has it been so long in the making? You were the inaugural champion. You've struggled with the Kawasaki over the last couple of seasons. This year, though, you've put in some pretty spirited performances. Well done.
Yeah, it's taken a little while to get back to where we were, but, Glenn Willing's been working great with the bike, and he's been taking little bits of time out of me, and she's come together halfway through the season, but, I wouldn't have been able to do it without him. It's been pretty hard to get back on a Sunday podium, so, I'm happy to be back here.
Good on you, mate. Well done. Rest up. Winton's the next challenge for you?
Yeah, definitely, but we'll have a good go and we're heading in the right direction, so happy.
Good on you, mate. Well done.
Thanks.
Wayne Maxwell, third place, Team Yamaha. Probably not the best way you'd like to finish the weekend, Wayne, but at least you're upright and you've still got some more points under your belt.
Yeah, look, we were on the battle from the get-go, and it is the way it is, mate. You can only put your best foot forward on the day, and the guys at Team Yamaha did that. We tried a few things, but we're on the improve, but nothing enough to stop the guys there at Honda. So massive congrats to them, massive congrats to Matty in that last race there. He rode awesome, he had a lot of grip, and he was just pressing on. So it's great to get out of here with an overall podium and finish the weekend with a podium and on to Winton now.
Well, on to Winton, a little bit closer to home for you. How do you find Winton?
Look, Winton, I won here last year and I won at Winton last year, but this year I haven't won here, so who knows what Winton's going to bring, but we'll just give it our best shot, keep pressing on and just try to, squeeze it down to the last round of the last race and, try to make Troy earn it because he seems like the guy to beat at the moment.
Good on you, mate. Well done.
No worries, thank you.
And second...